Hello and welcome back to the Wales Women Fan Trust post-game chat. I'm going to be joined by Megan and Gwennan in a moment. Obviously, the game is just winded down to its conclusion, looking like it's going to be a 1-0 defeat for Wales. I don't know whether maybe other people's coverage is a little ahead or behind, but we're just in the first minute of stoppage time for me. I think it's been an interesting exercise for Wales, and there's a lot of good stuff that I think we can be talking about. I think the result is probably just about a fair one in terms of who the winning team is, but obviously the reality of the situation is it was kind of self-inflicted. Scotland have made us look, I don't want to say average, but certainly a little bit below par today. I think we've been a little bit lax with the ball in certain places, and obviously what's happened for the goal there is obviously very, very disappointing. Obviously Scotland hit the bar just before the break, so it was definitely coming, the goal, but as I say, kind of unfortunate circumstances, I guess, in the way that it's kind of happened. Obviously the game is kind of coming to its conclusion now. I'd be very, very surprised if we did manage to pick a goal up here. I think this is a good lesson for us as fans, but also for the players and Gemma Granger as well, in that, you know, that step up to be in a pot 2 team, for example, is really quite a big one. And I think it's really, really interesting to see the sort of team that we would be up against, like Scotland, kind of all action, very combative, very interesting side in a lot of ways, a lot of talented players, and the way they keep and move the ball, I think, is impressive. And I would imagine that we probably look up to these players to an extent, in that we want to play a similar way. You know, we want to sit at the back and keep the ball and move the ball around a bit. And Scotland have obviously done that really, really well today, which has obviously made life difficult for us. Obviously, the game coming to a conclusion now. Last few seconds here, it was Wales got a throw in. So, like I say, I'd be surprised if we do get another chance here. But we have had half chances. I think Gwennan mentioned in the commentary, it's a shame not to see Wales kind of pull the trigger a little bit, which we could have done, and perhaps should have done a little bit earlier at certain occasions. So yeah, but Wales on the break here, just as the game is finishing up. A lot of kind of balls into the channel that haven't been too effective at times, which is a shame. But I think overall we've kind of been impressive in the way we've tried to deal with the way we've dealt with Scotland. I think, you know, it is going to take time to embed a new system and everything else. So it's going to be an interesting journey, I think, especially if this is the last game before the start of the campaign. Sorry. So it should be interesting. Obviously the game's kind of wearing down now. I found our pressing has been a bit hit and miss today, which says a lot, I think. Obviously, you know, I think maybe a little bit of tiredness in there for some. But, you know, it's been a reasonable exercise and performance, even if it's not been a perfect game. But yeah, I think there's lots of positive stuff to take from this, and I think it's been very, very enjoyable. But yeah, as we kind of tick the last few seconds away here, Scotland kind of seeing the game out well. And yeah, like I say, I've been kind of really impressed with them, which is obviously not the thing that we want to say, but overall I have been impressed with them. So yeah, it's been a decent exercise, I think. So we're just here in the last few seconds of the match now. As I say, I'm going to be joined by Megan and Gwennan in a minute. So thanks for joining straight away and getting involved. If you've got any questions or anything, please feel free to share them. I'm going to try and keep an eye on what people are saying on Twitter as well. So yeah, the game, one final attack, one final throw of the dice here. from my stream anyway. And just couldn't quite get anything out of that, but I think that will probably be the end of the match. And I think I think once Scotland take the goal kick, I'm sure that will be the end. So yeah, if you've got any comments or thoughts, please do share them. As I say, I'm going to try and keep an eye on Twitter, so please do keep an eye on those, and please do comment on how you think the match has gone. It would be great to get as many opinions as possible. So yeah, hopefully Megan and Gwennan will be here in a sec. So altogether, yeah, I really like to know what people are thinking. It's been, as I say, an interesting exercise. Megan is joining me now.
You know how earlier I said that I was going to get really upset if I was 10 minutes behind? I was about 7 minutes behind when Scotland scored. So my phone started flashing. I was like, what? No, they couldn't possibly. I realized I was 7 minutes behind in the game. So, yeah.
If there's any consolation, I did something similar as well. I think my screen froze at half time. But because it was just like the water spray things, I just thought the pitch was being watered, and I was just like, this half time has gone on for ages. I expected a bit of a delay. Gwennan's gone, but I thought the game's going to be starting soon, and it was just obviously just an endless image on loop in the background, which was less than ideal. But I suppose at least, did you see the goal?
Yeah, no, I saw it. It was. I wish I hadn't seen it, but I could have gone without seeing it. Yeah, it was. It just feels so. We did so well the first half. I thought we really, really played them. And then they came out the second half and were much stronger. But to concede a goal like that, yeah, it's just kind of a tough one to swallow. If it was just in any other way, if it was on them that they scored it, great. But it was on us that they scored. And I just think it's a little bit harder to kind of claw back from.
No, I totally agree. I think it's an interesting one. I think they were definitely the better side and deserved to win the match, I think, on overall. But I think the way the goal came, kind of killed us in a lot of ways, kind of killed the game, killed everything that happened. Just getting a few comments in, which is great to see. Ian Campbell saying he thinks that the second half was a bit of a mess, which I do totally understand what you mean there. I think that the substitutions kind of killed the game a little bit and changed how things went. But overall, I do think, as I was saying kind of just before you joined, it has still been a valuable exercise. Karis Ingram has said a bit of a frustrating second half. Great to see Liv making her debut, though, between the sticks. That's something I definitely want to come on to, because I think that's a really, really interesting decision that Gemma's made there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they'd spoken about it. But I can't imagine that was just something spur of the moment. I'm sure that she probably kind of had that in her head, because she brought Esther on as well. And so maybe she's trying to blood a few of the youngsters, give them some experience. I mean, it is a friendly in the end. And I know there is no such thing as a friendly, but in some capacity, I think even Rob Page proved that this week, that there are such things as friendlies. So maybe that's kind of up her, what she's trying to think. And she's clearly trying to establish a way of playing. So in what better way to establish that than trying to blood some youngsters into doing it? But yeah, I think overall what Gemma is trying to do is the seeds are there. It's just about sort of making it into something that they can latch onto.
No, I totally agree. And I think if we are going to try and play out with the back like Scotland were trying to, I think then it's good and interesting that she wants to kind of assess the different options that she has. Because obviously Laura's been the number one goalkeeper for quite a while now. And it's obviously a big decision to change that. We've obviously, don't want to talk about the men's team too much, but obviously that's been a big discussion point, I think, for the men's team in the last few weeks between Ward and Hennessy. And I think, interestingly, it would be good to have that sort of depth here in this circumstance, just because, I don't know how much, I can't remember how much we've kind of talked about Laura in the past, but she's certainly someone who's obviously, she has made a couple of high-profile errors. So it was interesting to see that this is the way that Gemma Granger is looking at changing things as well.
And Gemma seems like the kind of manager that wants to sort of establish competition within the squad. And I think that makes the squad a lot stronger. So maybe that's also her thinking, is to kind of say no spot is sacrosanct. And I think that's what she kind of said coming into it already. no matter who the player is, even if it is Jess, like, you know, we're gonna assess it. Obviously, Jess is still gonna play, but it stands that there are going to be spots that are up for grabs. And I think even with the back line, like, that's been shown that she's not afraid to sort of switch things up. And maybe that's what this was sort of an exercise of kind of showing people your spot isn't guaranteed.
No, I totally agree with you. I can see Gwennan is just about to join us, so I'll add her to the stream now. Hi, Gwennan. How are you doing? Thanks for coming back with us.
Okay, sorry, it's a bit quieter now. Hopefully the radio will stay off.
I was quite enjoying the Will Griggs on Fire song in the background at the end of the first half. So, you know, slightly disappointed with the lack of musical choice now.
Yeah. Yeah, just disappointing really.
Yeah, that's what we were going to say. It was just a disappointing outcome, really, given how we battled quite well, but didn't kind of do much with the ball. You said in the commentary, that was the big thing that really struck me, was you wanted to see Wales kind of pull the trigger a little bit more often.
Yeah, because, you know, we're higher up the pitch now than we used to be, although I know we were deep for big periods of the time there. But then on a couple of occasions, we've done that in the last few games as well, where we've had the ball and we've just tried to be a little bit too intricate, I'd say. I felt like I was watching the old Arsenal. Just, you know, you're in those areas, just have a go, just have a little pop. If we don't shoot, we're not going to score. So again, that's always been our issue, and it's something that is hard to try and improve on. But if we are going to get to a major tournament, we have to improve in the final third. So again, good to see players higher up the pitch, but I think we just need a little bit more options at times, because we can be sometimes a little bit easy to read, I think, to defend the game, especially that second half. You know, we didn't pose much threat, really, I don't think.
I agree. And I think a lot of those balls, the thing that was frustrating me, and I'm sure you guys will be the same, is those kind of balls looking into the channels at times were a bit... I felt like we were either almost sometimes being too intricate, and then other times forcing it a little bit when we didn't need to, and kind of playing down the channels, losing possession, or keeping the ball in the situation where it's kind of difficult to keep the move and the momentum going, you know?
Yeah, I think Gwennan had used the word decision making a lot, and I think that was sort of it. Like, we just sort of keep making the wrong decision. Like, it's the right decision, but in the wrong time. So if we just sort of flip the times on some of those decisions, I think we would have done much better.
I honestly think, if I'm totally honest, that I think Carrie Jones was probably our most influential player in terms of decision making. Like, I think it was only once she made the wrong decision when she was in those areas, and she's our youngest player at 17. So that's great to see, you know, that we've got players like that are confident enough, capable enough coming through, and are now putting pressure on the senior players, because, you know, Kerry Holland played well in the last games. It's disappointing that she's not in this camp as well. And, you know, there are some players that Megan Wynne, you know, will be looking to push on as well. So at least we've got that depth coming, but I think we need a lot more training in those situations and in that intensity, because you can do as much as you want in a training drill, but you need players up against you in that intensity, that fatigue as well, to do things under pressure.
No, totally. And I think, like, a lot of things that you're saying there about Carrie Jones is kind of being echoed by people as well, saying that it was an amazing performance, exciting to see. And as you said, like, in commentary, really pushing for places. And you said before, Megan, as well, that no one's place is sacrosanct anymore. And I think that's a really interesting point. I think you said the same in commentary, Gwennan. And I'll be interested to see how that will affect things moving forward. Megan Wynne obviously coming back. Some of our more experienced players, shall we say, getting again a little bit older. So it is good to have these younger players kind of being blooded, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think us playing Kazakhstan too first, I think that's kind of nice, because it's not that it is a friendly, but they are maybe not our toughest opponent. So some of those places we can still sort of try to test a few things before going into the harder games.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Gwennan, you go, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think that Jem Granger, well, Jane, to be fair, you know, Jane has brought a lot of youngsters through and exposed them to the senior environment, but maybe not the actual games. But them having the opportunities now is going to help their confidence to then push the other players, because, as you said, I think there are some players, some of the older players now, that are actually under a lot of pressure because they haven't been performing to the standards that they maybe previously set, or that the youngsters now who have no fear, that's the difference. They come in and they haven't got any fear because they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, delighted for Carrie because she's waited a long time for that second cap. You know, to be given it at 15. You know, and everyone's raving about you, and to have to deal with that, deal with GCSEs, moving up to Manchester as well. She comes from, I know exactly where she comes from because as I said, I would have taught her, you know, from a really rural area. She's been patient, and then she's certainly taken a chance this evening. So delighted for her, and she's a really hard-working girl as well.
I mean, to take a second look at the goal, it was obviously, you know, Scotland were definitely the better side. I think your reaction says it all there, but it's a very frustrating goal to concede. I said to Megan before you joined us that she, you know, as great as Laura's been at times, she's also is capable of a bit of an error, and I think, you know, bringing that substitution on as well, I think was really interesting. But to focus on the goal, it was a very disappointing one, wasn't it?
Yeah. I actually seen it back because there's no replays, but I actually saw it back because the game was a little bit behind, and you know, like in a training game on a training pitch, I don't think I would have even tried that under my Wales. They would have sent me back to my hotel room. I don't know what's going through her head there. You know, you could see the confidence oozing out of her because she'd had a couple of pass backs where she'd done well with, but you can't do that as an international goalkeeper. Like you just can't. You just need to clear your lines. I think Caroline Weir smashed one into the rose ed right at the end. I was like, that is how you clear a ball. Just you're the last line of defence, so you know that any mistake you make is going to get punished. You just need to ensure that you don't do anything like that. So it's disappointing because I know it's a friendly, but still, you know, we were well within the game. They were putting pressure on us. We were well within the game there, and it just seemed to suck the life out of us, really.
I don't think we really found any sort of pulse for about 10 minutes after that goal. Like for the 10 minutes following, it was all Scotland. We did not see the ball.
Yeah, that killed us, didn't it? Especially, I think, as you say, you know, we were trying to play out from the back. We're trying new things and trying to do things a certain way. And I'd imagine a mistake like that will just, like you said, saps your confidence in a heartbeat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because in that first 5 minutes after you've conceded, because I thought we were poor at the start of the first half as well. We lost possession really early, gave them the momentum and confidence. But you always say that first 5 minutes, and we actually attacked straight away, but then lost possession of the ball in an area, and we just seemed to be as if we had no belief that we could get out of those areas, and we just forcing play, giving the ball back to the areas instead of just having the experience to at times just hit the ball long, turn Scotland around, just get everybody 20 yards higher up the pitch and relieve that pressure. So that was quite disappointing. That aspect just needs, you know, one or two of the bigger leaders, your Ingles and your Fistlocks, to just take the game by the scruff of the neck a little bit by then.
No, I agree. I mean, looking ahead, obviously, to the World Cup qualifiers, do you think that Gemma, this has kind of maybe crystallized a few things for her in terms of, you know, who is going to be starting games and what the kind of tactical plan is looking forward?
I think the biggest thing from these three games is we haven't had Hayley Ladd, because for me she's a certain starter. You know, in that ideally in midfield, but all our stronger technical players are in the midfield area. We can't put them all in. Let's play the diamond. So, you know, she's got to come back in. So I think she'll be in the thoughts. But otherwise, I think the team is quite stable. You can see that with, again, the lateness, how late we made the substitutions. I'd just like to see us have a few more options as a centre forward, because I think we're so reliant on Kaylee Green. And we know, like, what you see is what you get. But we need a different type of forward in there as well. Like, you know, Georgia Walters obviously come on, but I still think we need someone added there. We need a little find, and I know that she is actually, Gemma Granger is looking to see if there are maybe some Welsh qualified players around, like Kerry Holland, because she was outstanding as well in those first two games. So I think she'll be pushing for a place.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a forward with sort of Kerry's, I don't even know, energy, I guess. Like, I just watching Carrie made me excited. It made me want to start like running around my room. It was just, I loved watching her play. She was fantastic. So I think if we had a forward up there, that would be, like, if we could just like kind of like clone Carrie and then make her a forward and then put her up there, I think that would work quite well. Tell Gemma that. That's my way. That's my tactical thinking.
Don't tell now. Yeah, no, she offers something different as well with that energy, that drive, but her pace, she's deceptively quick. Like, I've only seen glimpses of her play before, and then when she played that Canada game, she covers the ground really quickly. It's just about having different options there, I think, so we're not so predictable, in my opinion. But I still think there has been massive improvement in just the way that we're trying to play out from the back, trying to get on the ball in higher areas of the pitch and get our more technical players on the ball. So that is, positive going forward. Because when we play the teams that are in and around us or higher ranked than France, we are going to, you're not going to go out and go gung-ho against them. Otherwise, we're going to get ripped to shreds. So you're going to have periods of the game like we have been used to, where we're sitting back and then hitting people on the counter. But again, just might need different options for those games.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one thing, like you said, there is that the improvement certainly in how we're trying to play is definitely a big step forward. And I obviously we don't want to dwell too much on the goal, but at no point did they really kind of tear us apart. And Laura was making save after save after save. Obviously, there was the shot that hit the crossbar at the end of the first half, but there's definitely that solidity is definitely still there. That was our kind of hallmark under Jane, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's what those foundations are what we built our success off in that World Cup qualifying campaign. I'd like to see the stats actually, because I think we had more shots and probably shots on target, but the shots that we did have on target were pretty easy, pretty simple. The free kick, Cash's opportunity.
But I think that's sort of like Wales's story writ large a little bit, is that we do have a lot of shots on goal. We might do that, but like we give them one chance. We give one, like the good team one chance, and that's sort of all they need. So I think that's sort of something that Gemma probably needs to consider now, is like, when do we stop giving them that one really, really good chance?
Yeah, and
I think you're right. Like you said before, Megan, like when we were kind of messaging before the match, how well she speaks and how she's clearly such a strong leader. And I think that comes across. And you'd imagine it's only a matter of time until... Sorry, my dog has just walked in and bitten my toe. Until it's only a matter of time until that kind of does transmit it to everyone, and it does have a big impact.
Yeah, I think that's the ruthlessness of international football as well, and that's why we haven't quite reached that next step, because we're not ruthless, we're not clinical enough. As you said, one opportunity, I mean, a very simple opportunity, obviously. My nan could have scored that. But we've got to stop. We've got to be more clinical. And in both boxes as well, like, you have to just clear your lines there, just be ruthless about it. But again, then when we're in front of goal, we just be a little bit more accurate and take the opportunity. If you've got a half a metre, half a second for a shot, then shoot, because there could be a deflection. But we just seem a little bit hesitant in that area. And then, as you said, when we do get clear-cut chances, we don't take many of them. And that's the reason why we haven't gone on to qualify for big tournaments, because in those big games, Northern Ireland games, we haven't been clinical enough. The big thing, it's the hardest thing to do in the game. I would say that because I was a forward, obviously. But it is the hardest part of the game. But, it needs to be done, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think you're talking about Kerry Holland there. I think that is the kind of player we need, isn't it? Someone who can turn the defense. Like, Kaylee Green's work rate is great, and she's very good at holding the ball up, I think. But you're right. I do think we need someone who's going to pose a different threat at times. And Helen Ward is obviously a fantastic finisher, but in terms of that she doesn't have that kind of movement and pace and dynamism perhaps that the others have, which is a big deal for us. Just looking, just at one other thing that I thought you think is really important we raise. I thought that obviously everything that the FAW and the team do pre-match always seems to be great. The videos and photos and whatever that do the rounds were amazing. But I feel like this week's with the Pride flag on the front of the shirt, and obviously the Pride numbers, I think they're going to try and auction the shirts off or something. I think it's so amazing what the FAW are doing, and the players as well, kind of empowering different people to be part of Welsh football, but really are being proud, ironically, about their and open and honest. And I think that must be so inspiring for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, they know that they're role models on the pitch, and they're having that exposure now, finally. Still not enough, but we're getting there. But they also know the importance of their platform. And I think they've said that as well, that they're proud of who they are and they want to express that, but they want everybody to feel safe, and they feel safe in that environment and always have done. And football's been a real release for them in that sense. So I think it's a real togetherness, and it's a real taking them off now, but like a real positive of the Welsh the FAW, that the staff and especially the media staff have done so much over the last 3 or 4 years to improve the exposure first and foremost, but to improve campaigns like this, obviously with the racism as well, to ensure that everybody is being heard and that these role models are being seen in the light and pushing for the things that they want to push as well. So credit to the players, obviously, for pushing for certain things, but credit to the staff, as you said, for their hard work, because you don't see that when you see a game. And even as a player at times, like when I used to play, you come in and everything is done for you. Like the only thing that they need to focus on really is going out there and performing. And that's because of the whole team ethos that the FAW's got. And on the male side as well, you can see it, that togetherness, not just as a squad of players, but as an actual squad, as a team, a Welsh team. So it's lovely that that's transcending across both the male and the female and the youngsters as well. So I do think a lot of credit needs to be done. And I think Ian Gwynn Hughes is a big one as well, for the way that he's tried to bring the Welshness into it as well, and that pride at being Welsh and the history of the nation as well. So there's so much being done, different to a lot of other nations, and we're very passionate and again, I'm thinking in Welsh now. I never think in Welsh. I've been speaking it all day, but I'm proud nation. And we're seeing all of these campaigns that are just bringing us even closer, even prouder.
No, it's so true. And I saw this week after the Switzerland game that the men's team played, the NFL tweeted like a Gareth Bale mocked up NFL uniform with like a helmet with a red dragon on it and all this other stuff. And because obviously the Welsh Twitter handle is @Cymru, everyone around the whole of a massive country like America is going to see that word and wonder what that means and what that is. And that is so powerful in itself. And I think even little things like that are obviously making such a big difference.
I've had friends back home ask me what Cymru is, because they don't quite understand it. And like if I like most of my stories I write, I try to use Cymru instead of just Wales. And they'll ask me what I'm talking about, because they're like, I thought you wrote about Wales. I'm like, oh no, that's what it is. And I kind of have to explain it to them. So it is cool. I think the more we use the language, the more we use things like that, the more widespread it can get. And I mean, if people in the States can learn it, then I think a lot of people can learn it.
Yeah, and I'm one that's particularly as a Welsh speaker, and I'm a teacher as well, and trying to show that the Welsh language is a cool language, because a lot of them just speaking English in school. But when you've got role models like Aaron Ramsey's or James speaking it, and given across the whole platform worldwide, it does show that we're unique, and we should be proud of that. So it's great to see.
No, I totally agree with you. Look, I don't want to take up any more of anyone else's time. I think I can see people shuffling around in the background, Gwen, and I feel like you're going to be asked to leave soon, or you'll be locked in there forever. Yeah,
like Dylan Ebenezer was in Serbia when he was starting out his career. That's the story.
What, he got locked in the stadium? Oh well, we'll definitely have that. We'll have round 2 of that. That's a nice little teaser for everyone to come back for the next time we do this. So there you go. Thank you both so much for your time, guys. Thank you to everyone who's watched at home and kind of contributed and sent us messages and tweets. Obviously, we're really trying hard with the Wales Women Fan Trust to do as many different things as we can and kind of generate as much interest in the women's game as we can. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us, and thank you both for your time. I really enjoyed chatting to you both.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for your hard work as well, and giving the platform for this. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And hopefully, Gwennan, we'll see if we can bully you back next time, and you can tell us about Dylan Ebenezer. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.